You've been eating momos wrong your entire life. Not slightly wrong. Completely wrong. Because what most people call good momos is just the beginner level. The real secrets? They're hidden in street stalls, passed down in kitchens, and almost never explained. Why do some momos explode with juice, while others feel dry and boring? Why do street vendors make them taste addictive, even with simple ingredients? And why do your homemade momos never taste the same? The answer is not ingredients, it's technique. In this video, I'm revealing 25 powerful momo tricks used by street vendors and pros that will completely change how you make and eat momos forever. Let's start with the most important mistake. Number 25. The dough mistake everyone makes. Most people treat momo dough like roti dough, soft and loose. That's the first mistake. Momo dough should be slightly firm and elastic. This helps it hold shape during steaming and still turn soft and silky after cooking. Use warm water, not cold. Add it gradually and knead for 8-10 minutes until smooth. Then, cover and let it rest for 30 minutes. This one step alone can instantly improve your momos. Number 24. The secret to juicy filling. Dry filling tucks bad momos. Even with a perfect wrapper, dry filling ruins everything. The key is moisture control. Add finely chopped onions and a small splash of water or broth. You can also add a teaspoon of oil or butter to keep it juicy. Pro tip: mix the filling in one direction only. This helps bind everything and keeps the juices locked inside during steaming. Number 23. Never use a blender. This is the mistake that ruins more momos than almost anything else on this list. Blending your vegetables might feel like a shortcut, quick, easy, no chopping fatigue. But blending destroys the structure of your filling completely. It releases far too much water all at once, turns everything into a wet, mushy paste, and strips away the texture that makes a momo satisfying to bite into. Instead, chop everything by hand very fine, almost like a mince, but still with visible texture, not a paste. This takes more time, yes, but it's non-negotiable if you want restaurant-quality results. After chopping, squeeze out the excess water using your hands or a clean cloth. Vegetables like cabbage and carrots hold a surprising amount of moisture, and if you skip this step, that water will seep out during steaming and turn your wrappers soggy and translucent in all the wrong places. Hand-chopped, squeezed dry filling is the difference between momos that are juicy in a good way and momos that are just wet and falling apart. Number 22. The balance trick. Most home cooks think salt is the only thing that matters for flavor. It isn't. Add garlic, ginger, and chili as your flavor base. That part everyone already knows. Here's the part almost nobody does. Add a tiny pinch of sugar, barely a quarter teaspoon for an entire batch. You won't taste sweetness at all. That's the whole point. What this tiny pinch does is round out the sharp edges of the garlic and chili and balance the saltiness so the whole filling tastes deeper and more complex instead of just salty. It's the same trick many professional kitchens use in sauces and marinades. A whisper of sugar that nobody notices consciously, but that makes everyone say the food tastes better, without knowing why. Number 21. Perfect wrapper thickness. Most people roll their wrappers the same thickness all the way through, edge to edge. That's actually a mistake. Here's the trick professionals use. Roll the edges thin, but leave the center slightly thicker. Why does this matter? The center of the wrapper is where all your pleats and folds come together when you seal the momo. That's the point under the most stress. If the center is too thin, it tears or bursts open during steaming, and all that juicy filling you worked so hard on ends up leaking out. By keeping the center a touch thicker and rolling the edges paper thin, you get a wrapper that holds its structure at the point where it matters most, while still giving you that soft, delicate bite everywhere else. It's a small adjustment in technique, but it's the difference between momos that stay perfectly sealed and momos that split open in the steamer. Number 20. Stop overstuffing. There's a tempting logic that says more filling means more flavor, means a better momo. It's completely wrong. Overstuffing is one of the top reasons momos tear apart during steaming or leak filling all over the tray. When you cram too much filling in, the wrapper has to stretch beyond its limit just to close, and the seams become weak points that split open the moment steam pressure builds up inside. Stick to about 1 tablespoon of filling per momo, no more. It sounds like a small amount, but it's exactly the right ratio to let you fold and pleat properly, seal tightly, and still get a satisfying bite of filling with every mouthful. Once you get used to this measurement, you'll notice your momos hold their shape perfectly, every single time, instead of turning into a burst, deflated mess on the plate. Number 19. The water seal trick sealing might seem like the simplest part of making momos, but it's actually where a lot of home cooks lose the battle. Before you seal each momo, lightly wet the edges of the wrapper with a fingertip dipped in water. Just a light touch, you don't want it soaking wet, just enough moisture to activate the dough's natural stickiness. This acts exactly like glue. The slight dampness helps the two edges of dough fuse together properly as you pleat and pinch, creating a bond that actually holds under the pressure of steam rather than a dry seal that pops open the moment things heat up. Once you start doing this every single time, you'll notice something amazing. Your momos will never open up during steaming again. No more filling leaking into the water below, no more flat, deflated momos, just perfectly sealed little parcels every time. Number 18. Always grease or line the steamer. Sticky momos ruin everything even if you did every other step perfectly. If your momos stick to the steamer tray, you'll tear the bottom the moment you try to lift them off. And all that carefully preserved juice will spill right out onto the tray instead of staying inside where it belongs. The fix is simple. Lightly oil the steamer tray before placing your momos, using just enough oil to coat the surface without pooling. Or, even better, line the tray with cabbage leaves. Cabbage leaves do double duty. They stop the momos from sticking completely. And as an added bonus, they infuse a subtle, pleasant flavor into the bottom of each momo as it steams, something you simply don't get from a plain greased tray. Number 17. Never overcrowd. This mistake seems harmless, but it quietly ruins entire batches at once. If momos are placed too close together in the steamer, they touch each other as they cook. And as the dough softens and expands slightly with heat, touching momos fuse together at the point of contact. If they stick together, they tear the moment you try to separate them, taking chunks of wrapper and sometimes filling with them. The fix is simple but requires patience. Leave visible space between each momo in the tray, even if that means steaming in smaller batches instead of cramming everything in at once. It takes a little longer overall, but every single momo comes out intact with its shape and seal completely undisturbed. Number 16. Don't rely on time alone. Every recipe gives you a number: steam for 10 minutes, steam for 12 minutes, but the truth is, that number is only ever a rough guide. Steaming time changes depending on the size of your momos, how thick your wrappers are, how powerful your steamer is, even the altitude you're cooking at. Relying purely on a timer means you'll sometimes undercook, and other times overcook. Instead, watch the wrapper itself. When it turns slightly translucent and develops a glossy sheen, almost like it's become a little see-through, that's your real signal that it's done. At that point, the dough has cooked through completely, and the filling inside has released just enough steam and moisture to be perfectly tender. Once you train your eyes to look for this visual cue instead of the clock, you'll never serve undercooked or overcooked momos again. Number 15. Add oil to steaming water. This trick is so simple that most people dismiss it, but the difference it makes is genuinely surprising. Add just a few drops of oil directly into the water at the base of your steamer before you turn on the heat. As the water heats and turns to steam, those oil droplets travel upward along with the vapor, creating a slightly richer, smoother steam that coats the momos as they cook. This subtly improves the texture of the wrapper, giving it a slightly glossier, softer finish instead of the sometimes dull, slightly dry surface you get from steaming with plain water alone. It's a tiny change, requiring zero extra effort, but it's exactly the kind of small detail that separates amateur momos from ones that look and taste professionally made. Number 14. The ultimate momo chutney hack. A basic tomato and chili chutney is fine. But fine isn't what you're here for. Instead of just blending raw tomatoes, garlic, and chilies together, roast them first, either over an open flame, under a grill, or in a dry pan until they develop dark, slightly charred spots. This roasting step brings out a smoky depth of flavor that raw ingredients simply cannot replicate. Once roasted, blend them together, then add a splash of vinegar or fresh lemon juice to bring some brightness and acidity that cuts through the richness of the momos. Here's the final step that takes it from good to genuinely addictive. Mix in a spoon of mayonnaise. This might sound unusual for a traditional chutney, but it's exactly what gives street-style Momo chutney that creamy, tangy, slightly rich finish that makes you keep dipping in for more, long after the momos themselves are gone. Number 13. The juicy explosion trick. This is the trick I promised you at the start of the video, the one restaurant kitchens guard closely. Want momos that genuinely burst with juice the second you bite in, like the ones you get from the best Momo stalls? Here's how they do it. Add a small cube of frozen broth or gelatin directly inside the filling as you stuff each Momo. As the Momo steams, the heat melts that frozen cube completely, turning it into liquid that gets trapped inside the sealed wrapper. The result is a Momo that, the moment you bite into it, releases a small burst of hot, flavorful liquid, exactly the sensation you get from soup dumplings, but adapted perfectly for Momos. This one trick alone can transform a simple homemade Momo into something that feels genuinely restaurant grade, and it's far easier to do than most people assume. All it takes is freezing some broth in an ice tray ahead of time. Number 12. Pan-fried Momos upgrade. Steaming is just the first step. After steaming, heat a little oil in a pan and place the Momos flat side down. Cook until the bottom turns golden and crispy. This creates a perfect contrast crispy base with a soft, steamed top, a simple step that makes Momos far more addictive. Number 11. Chili Momos transformation. Sometimes the best trick isn't a new recipe, it's transforming the recipe you already have. Take your steamed Momos and toss them directly in a hot pan with a spicy garlic sauce, a splash of soy sauce, and generously chopped onions and capsicum, tossing everything together quickly over high heat until the Momos are coated evenly and slightly caramelized at the edges. The remarkable thing here is that you're using exactly the same Momos you already made, same dough, same filling, same effort, but the moment you toss them in this sauce, they become an entirely different dish. What was a simple steamed snack becomes a bold, spicy, restaurant-style chili Momo that feels like a completely separate creation. This trick is perfect for when you've made a big batch and want variety without doing any extra prep work. Number 10. Marinate your filling. Most people mix their filling and stuff their Momos immediately, straight away, with zero waiting time. This is a missed opportunity. Instead, once your filling is mixed with all your onions, garlic, ginger, chili, and seasonings combined, let it sit covered for 15 to 20 minutes before you actually start stuffing your Momos. During this resting period, the flavors have time to properly penetrate the vegetables or meat, rather than sitting on the surface as separate, disconnected tastes. The salt draws out a little extra moisture, the spices infuse more deeply, and everything melds together into a single, cohesive flavor instead of a collection of individual ingredients. It costs you nothing but a short wait, yet it makes a genuinely noticeable difference in how deep and developed the final flavor tastes. Number 9. Use fatty meat if you're making meat Momos. This next point might be the single biggest factor separating dry, disappointing Momos from juicy, flavorful ones. Lean meat, the kind marketed as healthy or low-fat, dries out quickly during steaming because it has almost nothing to keep it moist once the natural juices cook away. Instead, choose slightly fattier cuts of meat for your filling. That fat renders gently as the Momo steams, basting the meat from the inside and keeping everything tender and juicy rather than tough and stringy. Remember this simple equation: fat equals flavor, and fat equals juiciness. It's not about being unhealthy, it's about understanding that a small amount of fat is doing essential work that lean meat simply cannot do on its own. Number 8. Add ice to meat filling. Yes, you read that right, ice in your filling. This might sound strange at first, but it's a genuine chef-level trick used in dumpling and Momo kitchens across the world. Add a small amount of crushed ice directly into your meat filling as you mix it. As the Momos steam, that crushed ice slowly melts, releasing moisture gradually and evenly throughout the meat, rather than all at once. This slow, controlled release keeps the filling juicy and tender all the way through, instead of drying out on the outside while the center is still catching up. It's a small, unusual addition, but once you try it, you'll notice a real, tangible difference in how moist and succulent your meat Momos turn out, a difference you simply won't get from any other single trick on this list. Number 7. Upgrade veg Momos. Vegetable Momos often get treated as the lesser option, something people settle for instead of meat. That doesn't have to be true. Add crumbled paneer or finely chopped tofu directly into your vegetable filling mix. Both of these ingredients have a wonderful quality. They don't have much flavor of their own, but they absorb the flavors around them incredibly well, soaking up the garlic, ginger, chili, and other seasonings in your filling. Beyond just flavor, paneer and tofu also add a richness and a slightly different texture that makes each bite feel more substantial and satisfying, rather than just a mix of chopped vegetables. This one simple addition instantly elevates your veg momos from the vegetarian option to something people actively choose, meat eaters included. Number 6. Don't overdo spices. After talking about so many additions and upgrades, here's an important word of caution. Momos are fundamentally about balance, not intensity. It's tempting to think that adding more spices, more chili powder, more garam masala, more of everything will automatically make your momos taste better. In reality, too many spices overpower the delicate, subtle flavors that momos are actually known for, drowning out the very qualities that make them enjoyable in the first place. The goal is to keep your seasoning simple and clean, letting the natural flavors of your filling, the vegetables, the meat, the aromatics, shine through, rather than burying them under a heavy blanket of spice. Sometimes the biggest improvement you can make isn't adding something new, it's holding back. Number 5. Steam on high heat first. The way you manage your steaming heat throughout the cooking process matters just as much as any ingredient choice. Start by steaming on high heat for the first few minutes. This creates a strong, powerful burst of steam that quickly sets the outer layer of the wrapper, sealing in the moisture and flavor from the very beginning of the cooking process. Once that initial strong steam has done its job, reduce to medium heat and maintain it for the remainder of the steaming time. This two-stage approach, high heat first, then medium heat to finish, ensures your momos cook evenly all the way through, without the outside overcooking while the inside remains undercooked, which is a common problem when people steam on just one steady heat level from start to finish. Number 4. Use fresh dough only. It might be tempting to make a big batch of dough and use it over several days to save time. Resist that temptation. Old dough, even when stored properly, gradually loses moisture and elasticity the longer it sits, becoming increasingly dry and prone to cracking the moment you try to roll or fold it. Always use freshly made and properly rested dough for each batch of momos you prepare. Fresh dough rolls out smoothly, folds without resistance, and seals tightly, all the qualities that older, tired dough simply cannot offer anymore. It requires a bit more planning, making dough closer to when you actually intend to cook, but the payoff in texture and workability is absolutely worth the extra effort. Number 3. Season the wrapper. Most people ignore the wrapper. Add a small pinch of salt to the dough while kneading. It subtly enhances the overall taste and connects the wrapper with the filling. A small detail, but it makes a noticeable difference. Number 2. Serve immediately. After all this careful preparation, the dough, the filling, the folding, the steaming, don't undo your hard work by letting your momos sit around before serving. Momos taste absolute best the moment they come off the steamer, piping hot, with the wrapper still soft, glossy, and slightly translucent. The longer momos sit, even just 10 or 15 minutes, the more moisture escapes from the wrapper into the surrounding air, and the drier and tougher they become. What was soft and delicate quickly turns chewy and unpleasant. Always serve momos straight from the steamer with your chutney and sauces ready to go beforehand, so there's no unnecessary delay between cooked and eaten. Number 1. Practice folding daily. This final trick isn't a single technique, it's the foundation underneath everything else on this list. Folding is a physical skill, and like any physical skill, it improves specifically through repetition, not through simply watching videos or reading instructions. The more you practice pleating and sealing momos, even if your early attempts look uneven, lopsided, or a little messy, the more your hands develop the muscle memory needed to fold quickly, evenly, and tightly, without having to consciously think about every single pleat. Consistency is genuinely the key here. Cooks who make momos every week naturally develop a speed and precision that simply cannot be shortcut or skipped. It comes only with practice, one batch at a time.